Are you good?
Yeah, I think so. I said
All right. Yay! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talk to Danielle podcast. I am your host, Danielle C. Baker, and today we are going to be talking in the couple of episodes prior to this one. We've talked about bullying. I had somebody, a social worker, come on, and then a young man who's been victim of bullying all of his life, and how he was able to overcome that. And today I'm bringing on a parent who is living that reality right now with her son being victim of bullying, both with children and with adults, especially in the school setting. And just before I start, if you want to just like and follow and subscribe to whatever channel you're listening to this, go ahead. And we always welcome you to comment. This is how we can keep the conversation going. So make sure you talk to us. Don't be afraid to talk to Danielle. Just say what you think, what your thoughts are, your experiences on the topic. So with all that little spiel, I'm going to introduce my guest. I am here today with Vickie Chartrand-Farach. And thank you so much, Vickie, for coming on today.
Thank you.
And I know, Vickie, we've known each other for quite a few years, so we are both kids at heart. So this should be an interesting interview. Might not be a very formal one, but thank you so much. And before we get started in the questions and your reality, can you tell us a little bit about your story, just to explain a little bit your background and your story?
Oh, about the bullying? Yes. For my son, yes. It's been ongoing since for a couple of years, but the recent one was just 2 days into the new school year. It just started, and he was a victim of bullying. A few people called him like stupid, you're an idiot, and you're weird and stuff like that. And then he was being laughed at by the choice of clothes that he was wearing. So the whole week, the first week of school, he's been pretty much crying every single day. Like he was already dreading going to school. And now this, on top of that, made it even worse. So that was on the second day, It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. And this is just for this year. I mean, it's been going on before that as well. So that is a reality for many children where we think a kid should enjoy school. They should be happy to be there, see their friends. But for some people, it's almost traumatizing to think what's going to happen this time. What am I doing wrong? Or, when we're talking about clothes here, where people are a bit more open about what they wear and, and they're still getting teased on that. And it's kind of, can't believe it's still happening type of thing. That's what's, and it's like that. It's like that every year. Yeah,
every year. Now he's starting to realize he's different compared to everybody else because he's having the supporters full time. So he's trying to ask me questions like, why am I so different? Am I that mean of a person? I'm like, no, you're not mean. You're different. Nobody understands you the way that you are.
Yeah. And that's so hard. And he is at that age because when they're younger, they don't really notice. Everybody's kind of doing their thing, but as they get older, they start to realize that they're being singled out. And a child is a child, no matter what, no matter what tag they were given. They're a child. They just want to be liked. They just want their friends to like them. They want the adults to like them, and so that nothing changes there. And it's hard when you don't get that as a child. So, what would you say? When did you start noticing that he was a victim of bullying? Like it was a continuous thing, not just a one-off thing.
The way he was acting, like it would start every morning to be more difficult to bring him to school. He would like walk to school with his head down, with tears coming down, or he would place himself like in a corner while everybody else playing together. And you could tell he didn't want to be there. Yeah. And then at nighttime, where like at bedtime, that's where the story comes. Well, today this person told me I was stupid, and I was there once with a school activity. Like I was part of a group, and I had to take care of kids, and 2 kids just came and pointed and said, "You're dumb," and I'm like, "Well, can you not be nice?" well, he's so different and he does this kind of thing. And I'm like, so what? So he does the same kind of things that you do, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But I was right there, and like we're all like, wow, kids are so mean lately.
It's true that as adults, it actually makes us cringe. You're just like, oh, did that just really happen? Yeah. And that we've talked about that in a previous episodes where adults just don't know what to do anymore. It's kind of, there's no, it's not working. Whatever it is that we're trying to do is simply not working. And there's so many adults out there who want to help, but they're just overwhelmed with it. So yeah, the kids are just no filter. So it's like, yeah, this is, you know, they know they're talking to the mother. You know, we used to be afraid of parents. The kids now are not afraid of parents. Yeah. And it's good that you mentioned that you're actually at the school. It's happening. It's right there. And what would you say? And I'm glad that you mentioned how he was reacting, because a lot of the times the kids won't say that that's what's happening at school. They just kind of internalize it, and then it manifests physically, like you said. He just keeps himself. He stays very quiet. So it's good for parents to recognize those signs. And what would you say? What would you need to get from the school at this point? What would you really, as a parent who's living it and seeing it in your child every day, what do you need from the school at this point to be able to help?
I think teaching like the classroom how like Benjamin is, like, yeah, he's autistic and now has OCD, but just teaching the kids the difference. Well, autism is this, you may like, or like OCD is this type. How can we help him be like, you know, functional, or just have friends, or because they don't teach that. They assume everybody's the same, but they're not. Yeah.
And that's a big thing that I fight for, is we can't fit all these children into one box, even if they don't have a diagnosis. Every child is different. And we work so much on trying to integrate or include one child into the group that we forget that we need to sensitize the entire group to the needs, to say, well, you know, does it really matter if the water bottle, you know, they could tell the kids the water bottle just needs to be there. Don't touch it. Just leave it there. That's all it is. And kids would move on. But if we try to tiptoe around it, kids notice it, and then they get even more curious about why this person is so different.
And I don't think I don't think the teachers wants to be implicated. Like there's the difference between recess and inside school. Like inside school, you have to be quiet and you have to pay attention to the teacher, while recess, it's kids will be kids. Like, who cares?
Yeah, that's true. It's just let wild. It's like, blow off some steam. But you're right. There's also that the overwhelming of, you know, there's like hundreds of kids in one schoolyard all of a sudden. So let's just let them fend for themselves. But for a child like Ben, it's just, you still need to have that structure. And it's really not that complicated to put something into place that'll save you. The way I see it is the amount of time you spend on the meltdown to kind of diffuse the meltdown. There's a lot more energy into that than putting in something into place that will actually work with the child. And it works with the entire class, not just like with that one child. That makes a big difference. You mentioned earlier that Ben notices it now because he's older. So they do realize that they're not only are the children being told that they're different, but they do feel it. They know, but now they have the words for it. What effect does that have on Ben now? Do you notice from, let's say, when he was in grade 1 or kindergarten to now? What effect does it have on him?
I think he's kind of like embarrassed a little. Like he's asking me questions like, do they think they know I can't write? Or what, do they think they know I can't do something? Or like self-esteem wise at school, especially that they know that like they're pinpointing him. Like you can't even do a straight line. Like he can't write. So he needs the computer and assistance and all that stuff. So just laughing at him, trying his best makes him not want to try anymore, right?
Right. Right. And I like what you just said, that he needs the computer, that there's people, and not just for autism, but for other conditions, that they will never be able to write the traditional way. Or we were talking about cursive earlier, and, we wouldn't ask a child that's in a wheelchair, we would never ask them to say, well, just get up and walk. Like, so this is the same thing. He will never write the way that the school is expecting him to write. So why is it so hard to have that computer?
Yeah. It's the same with behavior. You won't take a wheelchair away from a person with bad behavior or not listening. So,
Yeah, just because you think that they're just doing that to make your life miserable. And so, you don't take the tools away from a child who needs those tools. That's basically the message. And unfortunately, it's a message that you have to replay every school year. And it's exhausting. It's got to be exhausting just to think about having to retell the story, re-explain yourself.
Yeah, and it's a lot of emails and talk with the director, and they should know him already.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing. They should, because you've had a plan from the beginning, even before they started kindergarten. There was a learning plan with specialists that do this for a living, and the school just kind of tosses that aside and said, oh no, we'll do it our way, it's going to work. And it doesn't.
Yep.
And I'm saying this because I worked on both sides. I mean, as a parent and as a teacher as well. And I'm not saying that all teachers in all schools don't want to help. A lot of them do. So I just want to put that message out there to the listeners. We're not bashing teachers. We're not bashing the schools in a sense. A lot, everybody wants to help. They're just overwhelmed with it. But just to stop resisting this. Well, I've always taught my class this way. Or we always ran the school this way. And it doesn't work. You need to be able to move things around for a child that does need it. It saves time in the end. Yeah. We talked a lot about what's going on with your son, but how, because you have an older daughter, and how does that impact? They go to the same school, and a lot of the times the siblings kind of either take a back seat because there's a lot of attention on the child that needs a bit more attention, or, they get caught up in this bullying stuff. What do? I want to fit in with my friends, but I want to protect my brother too. So how does she take that?
She's very verbal. So but she has a lot of friends too. She's very social. So when they're in recess and she actually sees bullying and stuff, she will, and there's no teacher around, so that actually happened, she will go and stop it. And I told her, I'm like, I love you. I want you to remain a kid. So just go and play. And it's to the adults to fix that problem, not for kids to take the job of, a teacher. But it hurts her feelings to know that, my son is being bullied. So what she's done is she actually got the same outfit as him, just to tell him, your creativity is great. Just keep being yourself. And she walked in and she's like, hey, look at us.
Yeah. I love that. I saw that when you posted the picture and they were matching outfits. And I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. Just
I like the fact that she's strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
That's what she is strong. It made me laugh for those who are listening, I've known the children for quite a few years. So I see the personalities, and you wouldn't want to mess with the big sister. She will put you back in your place. And I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's wonderful. How do you find to manage your time between the two? Because I know, Ben will take a little bit more time sometimes, or you want to make sure he's okay. How are you able to? I know the answer, but if you could tell the audience how you have managed to share that time between the two.
Well, I have my special bonding time with Ben, and then I have my special bonding time with Amy. We do martial arts together, and that's my time. Also, I have my own personal class too, so that's where I release all my my problems. And and for Ben, we have his own special activity, and it's great. I love it. I love having to do the both.
Yeah, and it's important to give them each their time as well. Sometimes parents are overwhelmed. That's the message kind of want to send out there for parents who are living through it, that it's important to, you'll feel guilty that the one of them is kind of always on the back burner, almost, it feels like, and it's, you can make that time. And I'm glad you mentioned your martial arts time, because as a parent, they always say you do need to take care of yourself. You need to recharge your battery to be able to show up fully for your child. So what do you do? What do you need? Or, how did you get to being able to say, okay, I need that time for myself. I need to recharge so that I can be there for my kids.
What do? I go twice a week. I have to. That's my time.
Yeah. I like how you said that. I have to. It's not like,
yeah.
It's like, it's not
our mental focus. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like some people will take like a few minutes to read or take a bath or whatever. Me, it's going to my class.
Yeah, it's hit a beanbag for a while and kick some air and get it all out of the way. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It just shows up differently for everybody, where you just have to find, if you don't know what your thing is, try different things. You'll eventually find the one thing that, and for you it was martial arts, and and just kick butt.
Yep. It started with my daughter. She just asked me one day, could you please do it with me? I don't want to do it by myself. And I actually love the class. And we do 2 separate classes. When she's done, she does her own thing. And then I get my personal time. So it's great. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
What kind of support do you find that parents need a lot, for parents who have children that, that are neurodivergent or that learn differently? What support is still needed out there?
A lot. There's not a lot out there that we can actually find. Like parents are having to do it on their own. Like doctors don't really know where to direct us to go.
Yeah.
And CHIO nowadays, well, it's a disaster. Like you can't just get in there. I know of a lot of groups on Facebook for support, so that's a good thing. But we need activities. There's no like activities just for them. It's great to go for like a summer camp or something, but they're not. They don't know about those kind of, kids. They're not trained for it. So it's hard to juggle that. Like, we need activities. We need like more like research and fundings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There's not a lot out there.
That is so true. And you touched on something very important here. A lot of parents will think automatically they'll be given resources, or that the doctors will know, if you go see the family doctor, you get a diagnosis or any kind of news, that they will direct you to the right place, but you are left on your own. So don't give up. You do need to, and those groups help, because you just say, okay, can somebody help me with this? And so many people are willing to help because they've had to fight alone. They're more than willing to help. So for parents out there, don't hesitate to ask, because there's a lot of people who will help you. You feel alone. I know you must have felt the same. You feel alone as a parent when you're going through this. When you reach out to groups who are living it with you, that all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, it's not just me. Everybody's feeling the same.
Yeah, and there's a lot of also like a bullying as a parent. Like when you have like a little kid like that, the parent, that a lot of adults are going to be like, well, please raise your kid better, or it's not it's not their fault. We're trying our best,
Yeah. And every day is different. So you got to start, there's a lot of still work there as a parent to see, if you see a child having a meltdown at a park, before you start judging, start to wonder, like, what can I do to help, instead of, well, fend for yourself, or it's not easy. What would you say, because you lived it, so that's why I like to ask that question, is for parents who think that maybe their child would be a victim of bullying at school, what kind of advice would you give them to say, okay, I don't know what to do. I think my child is being bullied at school, but he won't talk, that kind of thing. What advice would you give them?
Well, I can tell you what I've done.
Yeah.
I actually went to school earlier and see how the teachers and the recess happens. Like I would either drive by, like it's not like stalking, it's just I want more information, right? So I would drive by and see, or you walk in like you just observe how the reaction of your kid is going. And then you can, now before the pandemic, you could actually go in the school and early and see how, like, you look inside the class and see how it goes. Now with the pandemic, you can't do that anymore, but now it's restarting. So that's a good thing. Like now we can officially go in the school. So Yahoo. But after after school, like, I would ask him, like, how was your day? Did you have a fun day? And if he automatically says no, and then, well, what happened? And then you can like read between the lines. And when someone like tells you this person and the whole school knows that person, then you kind of know, like, well, yeah, right. He's being like, they're being bullied by that type of person, or that person alone. But it's a lot of, like I would take my son for a walk and say, like, to do his thing. And then eventually the stories would come out when he feels comfortable. That's what I would do. But I would go in the school. I would walk around the gates of the recess just to observe. That's what I've done.
Yeah. I like how you said that. It's not stalking. I'm just observing. No, I like that. No, but it's necessary sometimes because the children are not going to fall out, stay on the first question. Like, is everything okay? Yeah. Whatever. That's what you get. So you do need to give it a bit of time and ask different questions that's not necessarily how was your day? Did anything happen? But just ask questions that leave it open. It's not just a yes or no answer. And you'll get to it. Yeah. With your experiences with all of this and everything that you go through and you see your children go through, what kind of wisdom do you want to pass on to your kids? Like what kind of, to make life easier for them when they're adults? What values or what message you're like, I want to make sure my kids know that it's okay for this, or, that I want to make sure that life is easier for them.
My son's having more difficulty understanding that part yet, but for my daughter, I try to tell her to just remain who you are, like never to change for somebody. Like if you're happy with yourself, then that's like you value yourself. That's number one. And then never be afraid to raise your voice for like anything. If you don't like something, just go see someone for help, or never to be afraid to speak.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful message to give our children. Yeah. Speak up. You have a voice. Use it. That's amazing. Yeah. And what message do teachers in school need to hear from a parent who lives it every day? That's because the schools are kind of caught up in their own tornado. What message do you think the parents, that the teachers and the schools need to hear to make things better for the students?
To listen to what they're saying. They like my son is trying to verbalize what he's feeling and I don't have time. Well, just take the time to just listen to what they're saying. Value their words or what they're saying, and then it might help you.
Yeah, and it saves time in the end because you've addressed it right away instead of dragging it all year. Yeah. So just listen.
Like I know they're so I know they're so busy and stuff, but just that 1 or 2 minutes could save like a whole day or a week. Yeah. And that's true. And that's something that I think it's not just the teachers, because the teachers are just surviving, but the lawmakers and the decision makers need to understand that there's something that needs to be done, and this teachers need those extra 2 minutes to be able to take those 2 extra minutes. So things really do need to change. Yeah. Yeah. I know they need a lot of support that they don't have. Yeah. That's also an issue.
yeah, you said that earlier too, that they don't, a lot of, even if for camps or, after school activities, a lot of people are not aware. They don't even know what the condition could be. So they don't know how to react. There's a lot of them, you can't intervene the same way that you would with a neurotypical child. So, because you could actually trigger a meltdown or a breakdown. So those are just little things that are important to know when you're going in. And just to know that that's just the way the child is. You can't make them follow everybody else. They're not wired that way. So let's not, I say you can't put an Atari game into a PS4. It's just not gonna work, So try it. The operating system is not the same. So let's try not to run those programs. But yeah, I want to thank you so much because you've given us a lot, and I just like the fact because you come in so authentically and you just like, this is the reality. That's not easy, and you always show up with a smile. For the listeners who sound, it's like, she's so peppy and this and this. And when you know everything that that a parent goes through, it's always amazing to see that somebody will show up with a smile and, giggling and cracking jokes. It's not easy. And it's just an inspiration for any parent that's going through it silently right now to know that there's a way to keep smiling and to keep going. Yeah.
Yep. There's always a way.
There's always a way. You just have to find your way, and that's the harder part. But yeah, it does happen, and you just reach out and help. And I always ask a question at the end of an interview. It's a promise I made a 9-year-old girl a few years ago that I would ask everybody, because she was always asked that question. And so my question to you is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
What I wanted to be? Oh my gosh, I wanted to be a movie.
No, you could say that, but what do you like now? What would you like to be?
Oh, now.
But I want to hear what you wanted to be. That I want to hear. So please share.
Okay, I wanted to be a movie producer. That's what I wanted to be.
That is so cool. Oh, that is so cool. Yeah. And
like I wanted to. Before. Like the movie producer?
I keep coding. Yeah,
oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to. I tried it too. I did the Rogers television for like 2-3 years. I did the camera person. I did the sound technician and all that. So that was fantastic, but it didn't happen. So that's okay.
That's okay. So what do you want to be now? What do you want to do now?
Now, I would love to own my own little job, like be my own boss. That's what I would love, but to concentrate on like the kids. I want to create a place where it's a safe place and a fun place, and at the same time build my daughter's dreams. Like it would all connect at the same time. So that's what I'm working on.
Oh, that's amazing. That's exciting. Oh, I love that. I like that. I want to thank you so much, Vickie, for coming on. Is there anything else you'd like to add, just to say that could help parents or teachers? I know you've said quite a bit, but just before we go, is there anything else that comes to mind?
No, that was good. It. Just don't give up, and
that's good.
It's all good.
Yeah. It's all good, exactly. So thank you again, and for everybody who is listening, again, share your comments, share your stories. We need to get those stories out there to make things easier for the parents, make it easier for the schools and the children, most importantly. And like you said, don't give up. Like Vickie said, don't give up. There is support out there. You're just at this particular moment, you're kind of on your own to find it. So always reach out. We can help you. And until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and we will talk soon.